Good morning, friends. Hello. How are you, my friends? So good to be with you. It has been since last week that we have had the chance to spend a little moment together, and um, we are on today as a special edition here at 11:11. Hey, good morning, John. Good to see you. That this morning will be my last 11:11 for about a month. I'll be headed out the door to the Camino de Santiago and to walk the way. Hey, Jamie, good morning. You're on time. Yay! Dun dun dun. So glad you're here. Vicky, good morning to you. I pray you're well. Good morning, friends. How are ya? So good morning, good morning. Hello, hello. How is everyone? I'm I'm wicked well. Awesomeness. So good. So good, everybody. So glad you're here. Part of this journey. So hope you're well. All right, friends. Hey, Karen, good morning to you. Glad you're here. Do. How is everybody? All right, let's get going this morning. It is the 13th day of September, and it is 11:11, and we are to gather together here again in our little crew, just our little diaspora spread about the earth, centered here in Fall River with our worshiping community. But many of you are around the world, or on a bus, or on a train, or headed into a commute, or sitting in your living room and having a cup of coffee. Wherever this finds you and wherever you are, welcome, and know that there is a welcome for you. There is a welcome for you here at 282 Rock Street. There is a welcome here for you in this world, and that there is a place for you, and you belong and are loved and are needed. Know that today. All right, friends. Um, as many of you may know, this is kind of a special edition of 11:11 that I am getting ready to head out the door to walk the Camino de Santiago, or at least a good portion of it. Now, there is a point on the Camino which is called the Cruz de Ferro, which is this. It is the highest point that's actually on the Camino. If you don't know what the Camino is, it is called the Way. It is one of the oldest pilgrimages in Christendom, and it's been going for 1,000 years, if not thousands of years. Pilgrims have gone across the north of Spain to Santiago to visit with the bones of St. James, to be at the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela. There's many paths and many routes. I will depart here tomorrow, and my Camino will begin, and my traveling towards Spain and towards Santiago will commence. And as I do, there is a point along this path. We'll be hiking about 180 miles of it, and as we hike along, there will be different significant places and parts of the path. One of them is what's called the Cruz de Ferro. As we're hiking, the Cruz de Ferro is the highest point on the actual path to Santiago of the many different paths of the Camino Frances, which is the most popular one. The highest point on that path is the Cruz de Ferro, and it's what's called the Iron Cross, because there's this kind of giant pole, and at the end of the top of the pole is this cross. It's just made out of iron, so you can see how they get there. But at the foot of the cross, at the top of this mountain, essentially, is a place where pilgrims have been carrying stones from the beginning of their pilgrimage all the way through to finally drop them. and let them go at the foot of this cross, the Cruz de Ferro. And it is a way of symbolizing the dropping of pilgrims' burdens, that's which they have carried from their home, and which they will carry and let go of at that point. While this, so I wanted to share with you this morning my two rocks that I will be leaving at the Cruz de Ferro. I've picked these up over my time of getting ready to train for the Camino, and there are two things. First is this a little white piece of quartz which just jumped out at me, and one day as I was walking through the wilds of Westport, and so this will be one. The other is this kind of much more smooth black stone that I have been and that I will carry these two, and they've come to I'll come to drop them and leave them at the Camino, at the Cruz de Ferro. The goal of them, the point of them, is that they are black and they are white. Of the things I will seek to carry, and I kind of want to share this with you today. It's a little more personal than maybe that we usually get, but that's all right. We're all friends here. That the white stone carrying, any bit of good is the sense of any bit of goodness that may have come through my journey and my ministry and my life in this. Not that it's that I might be able to lay that down, and it's really this notion of laying down these places where I can point to and I can just say, "What a good boy was I! What a good boy was I! I did such a good thing that time, or that one place, or that for that one person," and how stuck that can become, and how often ego-driven that can become, and there are reasons and stories behind these things which are going to remain mine. But and even some of these little white moments have been, they've been a lot more false than we think. That maybe something good has happened, but it was, my desires behind it and my reasons, may not have been as pure as all that. But that to be able to lay down the carrying of the place where I've I thought that I just had it together, because as I've walked this journey and as I continue to walk this journey, there's this reason and this reliance and this understanding that you never really do. That you never really do. That it is that every time that you lean on those reeds of how smart you think you are, or how good you think you are, they always crumble, and they always crumble as a way to help us to call us to rely further on Christ. And the second is my black stone, which is some of the places where I've either fallen down or I missed the mark. People that came to me asking for me to serve them, and I failed them. Places where I simply bore witness to the horror of the world, and I couldn't do anything about it. I didn't do anything about it, and even if I could have, I probably didn't. That these kind of stains about where we kind of recognize kind of how we fall short, how we fall short again and again and again. And I want to lay these two stones, and again, I can tell you some of the stories behind this, but I won't, because those are mine. But this journey is a little deeper, and that I will take to the Cruz de Ferro than just the stories, but these two parts of ourselves, where we come to these parts of ourselves where we think we're a good person, and I've done the good things and I've done the right things. And where we understand, if we truly scratch the pain on it, we know that goodness was never really ours. It was on loan from the one who made us. and the places where we fall apart and we encounter the brokenness of the world, and we are battered and we are terrorized and we are horrified, and at those places where we are shattered apart, and that blackness that we carry in those moments, those we end up in the moment of those we can lay down to, because the bottom line, friends, we as pilgrims on this path are neither as good as we think we are, nor as we are as bad as we think we are. And my hope is to lay down a little bit of both of those stories and both of those moments in my journey. You see, what they're building up there on the mountain of Cruz de Ferro on the top is what's actually, it's a deep spiritual tradition that goes back literally thousands of years, back into the depths of the Old Testament. We're talking 5,000, 10,000 years. They're creating what is called an Ebenezer. And now an Ebenezer is what is called a stone of hope. Now wait a minute. A stone of help. Now, wait a minute. And so I want to read you the story of where this phrase, where the title of this gathering of stones that declare that people have let go of, that they have carried again for hundreds and hundreds of years, to drop in this place where this pile of rocks, and where I too will drop my stones. Where this comes from, what the name for it comes from, what it means, and it is from the 4th chapter of First Samuel. And the word of Samuel came to all Israel. Now Israel went out to battle against the Philistines. They encamped at Ebenezer. The Philistines encamped at Aphek. And the Philistines drew up in line against Israel. And when the battle spread, Israel was defeated before the Philistines, who killed about 4,000 men on the field of battle. And when the people came to the camp, the elders of Israel said, "Why was the Lord defeated us today before the Philistines? Let us bring the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord from Shiloh, that it may come among us and save us from the power of our enemies." So the people sent to Shiloh and brought from there the Ark of the Covenant to the Lord of the Lord of hosts, who is enthroned in the cherubim. And the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were there with the Ark of the Covenant. The place of Ebenezer is the place of our greatest defeats. You see, the Israelites not only are defeated, they get defeated by the Philistines and by other people a few times, but they are defeated and they lose the Ark of the Covenant. They lose their connection to the holy. They lose their very connection to the purpose of which they were brought to the land. I don't know about you, but maybe that's an experience you've found in your life. That maybe you find yourselves in a place, or you find yourself in a moment where you are so disoriented that the beatings you took, the losses you took, the failures that you encountered ended up being so profound and so deep that you simply lost connection, that you were not only outnumbered and surrounded, not only defeated, but that you would come to be and lose connection with everything you thought was good and true and right and beautiful. And a few chapters later, Samuel would take a stone after he would mark this defeat, and he would take a stone and he would say that they would kind of come through this bad patch. And in fact, it would be all the effort of God, not the effort of the people, that would save them. That in fact, that the people would remain defeated, but it would be God that ends up, and God's power that ends up defeating the Philistines. And a couple of chapters later, Samuel comes to take a stone and put it upright, and name it Ebenezer, because this is the point the Lord helped us. That this is the point that they became stones of help. Friends, my invitation to you is, well, one, pray for me as I walk. I need your prayers and I need your encouragement. But second, consider the things that need to be brought to your own iron cross. Consider the things that need to be brought to your own mountaintop. Consider the stones that you carry. Consider the weights upon your heart or the weights upon your mind that are actually, that you're carrying them around, and what they actually are places for you to be helped by God. They're actually places that God is waiting for you to set them down at the cross so that he can make something beautiful and amazing out of it. So that he can actually lift your burden and take the yoke that you just keep strapping to yourself off. That in this pilgrimage of life, there are places where you can lay down the defeat, the places you are beaten, and let them know that you are neither as bad as you think you are, nor as good as you think you are, but that true goodness comes from God and the one who made us, and that goodness is given to us and handed to us and invited to us, and is asking us to stop clutching our little stones, clutching our defeats, clutching our brokenness, and instead to set them down and to let them be stones of help, stones of the places that God will help you and heal you in your life. As I step off on this pilgrimage, I want to, the last thing I want to invite you to is the invitation to read this book. I'm not often making book recommendations, but if you want to understand something about Camino, if you want to understand something about your own pilgrim walk, again, this is not simply about going to Spain and walking through the world. If you want to understand something about my walk that I'm about to take, this book by Alexander John Shaya, Returning from Camino, I think has some of the most beautiful and practical spiritual lessons in them that are not about simply, going, a couple thousand miles to walk in northern Spain, but are about how we wake up in the morning and put our feet on the floor, and what we will encounter, and how we encounter the living of our days in even small and great ways. And what he talks about is this journey to Spain, and this journey and the return journey. But friends, we all have return journeys to make. We all have cruise de Pharaohs and mountains to climb. We all have moments where we need to write a letter to ourselves a few months earlier to be able to share our own wisdom and to hold it. I want to invite you to this, to be a little part of the 11/11 homework assignment of while we are away and while we are kind of feasting on some of the greatest hits that will continue to be here at 11/11 over the next month. We have a great lineup for you. So if you're accustomed to being here for a live stream, there will be content here every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11/11. But I want to invite you to journey with me, and with this book, Return from Camino, but also with the notion that we might together raise our Ebenezers, that we might together build a place and a pile and a sacredness at the foot of the cross that lets God glorify the most broken and the most wounded and the most hurt things of our life. There's a great prayer from Thomas Merton, and I want to leave it with you in our time away. This is not about doing all the things right. This is not about being what a good boy you are and how holy and right you are, or this is not about how bad you are, how filled with shame you are, how weak you are, how fearful you are. But that actually in the middle of all of this, in the picking up of our stones that we have carried through the traumas and through the pains of our life, and the laying of them down, and the permitting of God to heal and to make us whole, and to make something great and beautiful on the mountaintops of our days, that actually there is only God's grace and God's goodness reaching out for us. So I leave you with this prayer. Gracious Lord Jesus Christ, I have no idea where I am going. I do not see the road ahead of me. I cannot know for certain where it will end, nor do I really know myself. And the fact that I think I am following you, following your will, does not mean that I am actually doing so. But I believe my desire to please you does in fact please you. And I hope that I have that desire in all that I am doing. I hope that I will never do anything apart from that desire, and I know that if I do this, you will lead me by the right road, though I may know nothing about it. Therefore, I will trust you always. Though I may seem to be lost in the shadow of death, I will not fear, for you are ever with me, and you will never leave me to face my perils alone. Amen. Peace and grace, my friends, and we'll pick it up sometime in the future with another 11:11.